There's a farmer in a rented shipping container who made more money last year than a 200-acre wheat farm down the road. No tractor, no combine, no 1,000-acre spread. Just one crop, grown in the dark, sold for more per pound than most people make in a week. We're taught that farming means bigger fields, bigger equipment, bigger debt. But there's a quiet underground economy of specialty crops that flips that entire idea on its crops that turn a garage, a basement, or a single acre into something that outperforms farms 50 times their size. Today, 6 of them, ranked from impressive to almost unbelievable. Stick around for number 1. It's a crop most people have never even heard of, and it might be the most valuable plant on this entire list. Let's get into it. Crop number 6, microgreens. We're starting with a crop that doesn't need a single acre of land. It doesn't even need sunlight. Microgreens are the young, tender first leaves of vegetables and herbs. Think baby broccoli, baby radish, baby basil harvested just days after sprouting, while all the flavor and nutrients are concentrated into something the size of a fingernail. Chefs love them because a small handful can transform an entire plate. Nutritionists love them because studies suggest they can contain several times the vitamin concentration of their fully grown counterparts. Here's what makes microgreens genuinely remarkable as a business: the turnaround. Most vegetables take months to reach harvest. Microgreens take 1 to 2 weeks. That means a grower isn't waiting for a single harvest. Each season, they're harvesting the same square footage over and over, sometimes more than 20 times a year. Picture a spare bedroom lined with a few shelves and some grow lights. That's a real, functioning farm. No soil erosion to worry about. No unpredictable weather wiping out a season's work. No massive land purchase. Just trays, seeds, water, and light. And restaurants pay well for it. High-end kitchens will pay a premium for a locally grown, ultra-fresh product that a wholesale distributor simply can't match in quality or freshness. Once a grower locks in a handful of restaurant accounts or a regular farmer's market table, the income becomes remarkably consistent. It's not going to make headlines. It's not glamorous. But dollar for dollar, square foot for square foot, few crops turn around cash as fast as microgreens do. And if you think turning a spare room into a farm is impressive, wait until you see what's happening in a walk-in cooler 2 crops from now. Crop 5, hops. Every craft beer you've ever had a favorite of exists because of this next crop. Hops are the flowering cones that give beer its bitterness, its aroma, its personality. And over the last 2 decades, something happened that most people outside the beer industry never noticed. Craft breweries exploded in number, and every single one of them needs a steady hop supplier. Here's the opportunity most large commercial hop farms can't fill: freshness and uniqueness. Big industrial hop operations grow a handful of standard varieties at massive scale from major beer brands. But small craft breweries want something different: a rare varietal, a local story, a hop grown 20 miles from their brew house instead of shipped across the country. That gap is where small hops farmers step in. A single well-managed acre of hops, trellised and trained up tall support systems, can produce a yield that generates revenue far beyond what the same acre would produce in corn or soybeans. And because the buyer relationship is often direct farmer to brewery, no middleman margins stay healthy. There's real labor involved. Hops need tall trellising systems, careful pest monitoring, because mildew and pests can devastate a crop fast, and harvest timing has to be precise. But growers who put in the work and build relationships with even 3 or 4 regional breweries can turn a modest plot of land into a dependable, recurring income stream, because breweries don't need hops once. They need them every single season, year after year. It's proof that sometimes the most profitable crop isn't the rarest one, it's the one attached to an industry that's growing fast and needs a reliable local supplier. Speaking of rare, our next crop comes from a plant most people have only seen in a health food aisle, and almost nobody realizes how good the numbers actually are. Crop 4, goji berries. If you've walked past the health food aisle in the last few years, you've probably seen small red-dried berries sitting next to the trail mix. Most people don't think twice about them. Farmers who understand the numbers think about them a lot. Goji berries have ridden the wellness wave for over a decade now. Marketed as a superfood, packed with antioxidants and tied to traditional herbal medicine going back centuries. Demand from health-conscious consumers has stayed remarkably strong even as other food trends have come and gone. What makes goji berries attractive from a farming standpoint is resilience. These are tough plants. They tolerate a wide range of soil types. They're drought-resistant once established, and they can handle both hot summers and genuinely cold winters, meaning growers in a huge range of climates can plant them successfully, not just specialty growers in one narrow region. There's a catch: patience. Goji bushes typically don't produce a meaningful harvest in their first year. Growers need to wait for the plants to mature. But once established, a goji planting can remain productive for many years, providing income season after season without needing to be replanted. The berries themselves can be sold multiple ways: dry for the health food market, fresh to specialty buyers, or processed into juices, powders, and supplements. That flexibility means a grower isn't dependent on a single buyer or a single product form. It's not a crop that turns a profit overnight. But for a farmer thinking in years rather than months, goji berries offer a rare combination: low maintenance, strong demand, and a shelf-stable product that doesn't rot the moment it's harvested. Our next crop, on the other hand, isn't even a plant most people would recognize as farmland at all, because technically it's a forest. Crop 3, bamboo. Ask most people what farmland looks like, and they'll picture open fields. Rows of crops. Nothing tall, nothing wild. Bamboo breaks that image completely, and that's exactly what makes it interesting. Bamboo isn't just a decorative plant or a panda's dinner. It's one of the fastest-growing plants on the planet, capable of shooting up several feet in a single day under the right conditions. And that speed translates directly into one of its biggest advantages as a crop: turnaround time. While hardwood trees can take decades to mature into usable timber, many bamboo species reach harvestable maturity in just a handful of years and then keep regenerating from the same root system for decades afterward, without needing to be replanted. The market for bamboo has grown far beyond its traditional uses. It's used in construction as a sustainable alternative to lumber. It's spun into textiles marketed as eco-friendly fabric. It's turned into flooring, furniture, and even paper products. And there's a growing culinary market too. Bamboo shoots are a staple ingredient across multiple cuisines, sold fresh, canned, or fermented. There's a real barrier to entry. Bamboo needs space, typically at least an acre, to make commercial production worthwhile, and startup costs can be higher than smaller specialty crops. It also needs the right climate. Most species thrive in warm, humid conditions, though some cold, hardy varieties exist for cooler regions. But once a bamboo grove is established, the ongoing labor and input costs drop dramatically compared to annual crops that need replanting every single year. It's a long-term asset more than a quick cash crop. Land that essentially regenerates its own product harvest after harvest for decades. Now, if bamboo represents patience paying off over years, our next crop is the opposite: a plant so rare and so difficult to cultivate that when it works, it can be worth more than almost anything else on a farm. Crop 2, truffles. Somewhere underground, beneath the roots of specific trees, in soil that has to be almost exactly right, something is growing that some chefs will pay more for pound, than they'd pay for prime-cut steak. Truffles are a type of fungus that grows in a symbiotic relationship with the roots of certain trees, most famously oak and hazelnut. And unlike a mushroom that pops up visibly above ground, truffles grow entirely underground, which means they can't simply be spotted and picked. Traditionally, they're hunted using specially trained dogs, or historically, pigs with a nose sensitive enough to detect their scent through several inches of soil. Here's why they're so valuable. Truffles are notoriously difficult to cultivate on purpose. Growers plant truffle-inoculated tree seedlings and then wait often 5 to 10 years with no guarantee the fungus will actually establish and produce. Soil pH, moisture, tree health, and even the presence of the right soil microorganisms all have to align. Many truffle orchards, sometimes called truffiers, fail to produce commercially viable harvests at all. But when it works, the payoff is extraordinary. High-quality truffles, particularly certain prize varieties, can sell for thousands of dollars per pound, depending on the season, the variety, and global supply. Restaurants, specialty food distributors, and luxury markets compete aggressively for limited supply, especially during peak season, because demand consistently outpaces what growers worldwide can produce. This isn't a crop for someone looking for fast returns. It's closer to planting an orchard for your grandchildren than planting a garden for next season. But for landowners with the right soil conditions and the patience to wait out a decade of uncertainty, a productive truffle orchard can become one of the most valuable pieces of agricultural land they'll ever own. And if truffles seem almost impossibly valuable, our final crop might actually top it. Because this one isn't just rare, it's something most people watching this video have never even heard of. Crop 1. Sea moss. Here's a question. What if the most valuable crop on this list didn't need soil, didn't need pesticides, didn't need irrigation systems, and didn't even need land at all? Sea moss, a type of edible algae, also known as Irish moss, has quietly become one of the fastest growing niches in the health and wellness industry. And the farmers cultivating are sitting on something most people don't even know exists as a commercial crop. Grown on ropes or nets suspended in clean, nutrient-rich ocean or coastal water, sea moss doesn't compete for farmland at all. There's no plowing, no weeding, no fertilizer runoff to manage. The ocean does most of the work. The grower's job is mainly to seed the lines, monitor water conditions, and harvest. And the harvest cycle is fast. Depending on conditions, sea moss can be ready to harvest in a matter of weeks, not months or years. That means multiple harvest cycles per year from the same growing lines, a level of turnover that rivals or beats even microgreens, but at a much larger scale. Demand has surged as sea moss gels, powders, and raw dried moss have become fixtures in the health, food, and wellness world, marketed for their mineral content and used in everything from smoothies to skincare products. Small batch, sustainably harvested sea moss can command a serious premium over mass-imported alternatives, especially when a grower builds a direct brand rather than selling as a raw commodity. The barrier to entry isn't land, it's access. A grower needs clean coastal water, the right permits, and the right growing conditions, which limits who can realistically get started. But for those positioned to do it, the economics are remarkable. Minimal land costs, fast harvest cycles, low input costs, and a product riding one of the strongest wellness trends in the market right now. It's the crop most people watching this video have probably eaten in a smoothie without ever knowing where it came from. And the farmers growing it are quietly building some of the most efficient, scalable operations in specialty agriculture today. Here's the pattern running through every single crop on this list. None of them won because they had the most land. They won because they solved a problem's speed, rarity, demand, or efficiency better than the crop next to them. Microgreens win on speed. Hops win on a booming, hungry industry. Goji berries win on resilience and shelf life. Bamboo wins on long-term, low-maintenance value. Truffles win on scarcity most people can't replicate. And sea moss wins by skipping the need for land entirely. None of these crops make anyone a millionaire by themselves. It takes research, the right conditions, the right buyers, and a lot of patience most people don't want to put in. But every one of them proves the same point. Profitable farming isn't always about how much land you have. Sometimes it's about growing the one thing everyone else overlooked. If this opened your eyes to a crop you'd never considered before, subscribe, because next week we're breaking down exactly what it costs to get started with the most accessible crop on this list, dollar by dollar. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.